Good afternoon. Today, at President Trump's direction, the United States Treasury has begun Operation Economic Outcast, an unprecedented campaign against the Islamic Republic of Iran and its enablers. In the Second World War, D-Day marked the historic beginning of a campaign with our allies to target and drive the enemy from its positions, including those in third countries. Today, in that same spirit, we are launching an economic onslaught against Iran's financial connections around the globe. Our objective is to sever every economic lifeline that sustains this tyrannical regime until Tehran stands alone. Iran's fanatics devote themselves to death to America and seek nuclear weapons to do just that. They have murdered and maimed more of our citizens and service members than any other terrorist regime on earth. And they have been at war against America, their neighbors in the Gulf, and much of the world for 47 years. President Trump has taken action that his predecessors have long deferred. And under his leadership, America is no longer managing the Iranian threat. We are ending it. Our great armed forces have laid the groundwork for achieving the president's objective of preventing Iran from ever obtaining nuclear weapons. They've shown America's resolve to finally end this threat. And the strength of America's economy under President Trump allows us to wage this sustained financial operation alongside the might of our military. Iran now faces a very clear choice with only two paths before them: complete global isolation and a subsistence economy, or a path back to normalcy with an opportunity to rejoin the global economy.
A path back to the global economy and back to normalcy. See, the thing is, that's the statement that worries me. That also is very much in line with the Islamic Republic's willingness to negotiate right now. Although they come out with all these statements, the IRGC, and say, we're going to strike every ship, we're going to destroy everything in the region if they do this to us. On the back end, we covered you. For all this week, we covered all of their actions that are gearing for the Islamic Republic to go back towards the negotiations. Armin, what is the Islamic Republic going to think when they hear that? Oh, there's a path back to normalcy. They're just going to come negotiate with America, drag this out for another couple months to the midterms, and then start striking ships.
They are going to do two things. The Islamic Republic cannot accept the current situation. It's not sustainable. There needs to be a reaction by the Islamic Republic, and there will be a reaction by the Islamic Republic before too long, and a significant reaction. There's two ways for the Islamic Republic to react to this. One is escalate and start attacking Arab countries, especially around the Persian Gulf. Two would be to come back to the negotiating table and offer a really good compromise and a deal. The problem is that the Islamic Republic is going to do both. Because the Islamic Republic is not one thing. There is nobody representing the Islamic Republic. The Islamic Republic is just a war between different fractions of the regime. And instead of them getting to act together and trying to do one of these things, they're going to try to do both of these things at the same time, because different fractions are going to respond differently. And when he says come back to the, with this door that Basij is leaving open, is basically an invitation to come back to the negotiating table and do a deal. The good thing is that a deal is impossible with the Islamic Republic. So the pro-tension side of the Islamic Republic, this is their narrative, Ali. And it sounds very good. I hope the jihadis are right. Because the pro-tension, anti-negotiation fraction of the Islamic Republic, this is the narrative. They say the United States is not interested in the deal, that all of this is fake. This opening of the door is fake. This is just a carrot that they're dangling in front of us for us to keep chasing it. And right when we're about to get there, they're gonna close the door right in our face. They drag us in, they lure us in by leaving the door a little bit open, and as soon as we chase it, they shut it in our face. And the deal is fake. The Americans are tricking us. This is what the pro-negotiation side of the Islamic Republic, they say don't understand. That every time the Americans tell us that here's a deal, abide by it, and things will be good if you listen to us. As soon as we get to that, the Americans will see our desperation to get to that deal, and they change their expectation. They increase their demands. And not only do they increase the demands, they hit us right in the middle of the negotiation. They hit us with missiles and drones, and they kill our supreme leader or destroy our enrichment uranium facilities. And how stupid that you have to be to keep falling for this trick by the Americans, that you keep chasing a deal that does not exist, that the Americans are lying about. And the more you try to gain this favor of the Americans, the more the Americans realize how desperate you are, and the more their demands for them accepting a deal will increase. And the more the demands increase, the farther we're going to be to a deal. And they will keep increasing the demands until we have nothing else to give. And when we have nothing else to give, they will come and completely destroy us. And this understanding of the so-called hardliners, the anti-negotiation pro-tension part of the Islamic Republic, is a description of the Americans that I hope is true. That all of this talk of deals is actually a trick by the Americans, and part of the Islamic Republic is falling for it. But the problem is, Ali, that even if this is true, the pro-tension side of the Islamic Republic doesn't have a solution either. Because the pro-negotiation part of the Islamic Republic tells the pro-tension side of the Islamic Republic it is also true, that you're not going to win this. Going war with the United States, you can't, okay, you're telling us that we're not going to get a deal? What is your solution? You think you could defeat the Americans in a military operations? You're more delusional than us. And actually, Ali, they're both true. They both are right, which means that the Islamic Republic is stuck and there's no solution. There's no way out of this. So I hope that the Americans keep at it, because some people are concerned that maybe last minute they will come and, I don't know, accept, they remove the blockade. Or they're hoping that the Americans maintain this pressure on the Islamic Republic instead of moving it at some point, because they're stuck.
And so it becomes harder and harder every day for the Islamic Republic to sell this deal to their own followers. The more they lose about, some people say $800 million a day. Every day they lose, the US will demand more. And it becomes harder for them to make a deal. Let's keep on going.
Today, we are launching Operation Economic Outcast to foreclose every other option available to the Iranian regime. Treasury has mapped every node, every facilitator, and every network that Iran has used to smuggle oil and evade sanctions.
I don't doubt that. Months of him looking at this, he got the UAE on board. Guys, do you know what that means? The UAE surrendered all of their financial data pertaining to the Islamic Republic to yours truly on the screen. You don't understand how valuable that is. Every smuggling route, import, every product, where it came from, where it stopped, he knows.
Beginning today, the actions of Treasury and other agencies will tighten the noose and block every potential source of revenue that funds the IRGC and the evil Iranian regime. We are enforcing a zero-leakage approach. There will be no minimal breathing space for the regime to rebuild its capacity to inflict terror against America and the world. The final refuge of this regime is a mistaken conclusion of nations that still finance the Iranian threat in the hopes of evading it. It is no longer acceptable to operate in the gray spaces of this conflict. Countries cannot claim they are blind to enabling this activity. Iran's enablers purchase, transport its petroleum. They facilitate the flow of its finances through exchange houses and free trade zones. They welcome Iran's flights and maintain registries on its behalf. They turn a blind eye to seaborne fuel transfers and overland transits. They condone illicit use of their banks, all the while concealing the extent of their complicity. The president is making phone calls to world leaders with specific requests to cease their interactions with the regime.
That's true. Trump is calling a lot of world leaders today on the phone. But here's the thing. Hey, Xi Jinping, can you stop? He'll be like, no. Why would I stop? And he's like, okay. Now Trump has to give some sort of threat, some sort of piece of leverage here. Let's find out what that leverage is. Maybe he'll talk about it.
Already seeing results. Over the weekend, comments from Iranian leadership clearly acknowledged the effect of this campaign, and nations that facilitate any interactions with the regime should quickly heed our message. Those who stand with the United States will reap the rewards of our partnership. Those who tether themselves to the Iranian regime should expect to share in the isolation of a withering regime. Teams from Treasury, State, and the US military are now meeting with their global counterparts to tell them that the United States expects action. Every country has a defined timeline to shut down activities we have identified. If they do not take action, we will do so unilaterally through Treasury authorities.
Oh, every country has a timeline. Wow. That is, a lot of people are going to push the American bully narrative here. Okay.
For example, every branch of Bank Melli must be shuttered and dark.
So, guys, he pronounces it off completely. He just said every branch of Bank Melli must be shuttered off. Armin, what is Bank Melli?
Bank Melli is translates to the National Bank, which is the main bank of the Islamic Republic. The main
bank.
branch.
The main bank of the Islamic Republic. And here is a map that I got of all the locations of the National Bank of the Islamic Republic. As you can see, stretches from London to Hong Kong and anywhere in between. London, Paris, Hamburg in Germany, Moscow, Baku in Azerbaijan, pretty much throughout the Middle East, and then we have Hong Kong as well. All of these must be closed from London to Hong Kong.
And let me be clear, any entity that facilitates money laundering on behalf of Iran will be removed from the US dollar system. The clock just started ticking. The new sectoral sanctions determinations issued today target 5 of Iran's most vital lifelines that it exploits in other countries: digital assets, technology, gold, aviation, and shipping.
So crypto, digital assets, that's going to be really big, especially for the top officials of the Islamic Republic. That's how they've been getting around sanctions lately. And I think she pulled something up about that for you guys. All right.
Guys, this is very different from everything else you've seen before. These are not just sanctions; these are secondary sanctions, and this is closing. They're trying to close every leakage, every financial institution, any connection of money going in and out of Iran. This is completely unlike sanctions that we have had in Iran ever. It's on a completely different level, and not only compared to what we had in Iran before, compared to anything else ever we've seen anywhere in the world. Like nothing like this has ever been attempted. Like people are saying we're in uncharted territories. If the United States is successful, so far they have been very successful, but if they manage to close all leakage, nothing like this has ever happened before. This is not at all something that the Islamic Republic is used to. Even with sanctions, this is on a completely different level.
And so this is a very fair thought. Okay. So feral thoughts is saying, so what? Because the Islamic Republic had sanctions on them for 50 years. Why is it going to work this time? It's a good question. This time, what Armin just said were secondary sanctions. That's actually never been done before to the Islamic Republic. Before, and what Scott Besson just said,
Not at
he
this
said,
level.
yeah.
So
you say,
secondary sanctions with the regime itself has been done, but now we have secondary sanctions on anything going to Iran. Like even if it's not regime, like anything, like a trade with anything Iran related. But yeah, go on.
exactly. So when he just said aviation, digital assets, gold, shipping, technology, all of that, those were already sanctioned. That's why people think, oh man, they're already sanctioned. So what? What's it different this time? Those sanctions required you to have a connection to the IRGC. So if you knew someone in the IRGC, you knew a company within the Islamic Republic, if you were working with them, you got sanctioned. That's how it worked before. This time, that requirement is gone. Anyone operating in these sectors, if you're outside of Iran and you sell a product to someone who then sells that product to the Islamic Republic, you're sanctioned, even though you had no idea. You had no idea they're going to sell it to them. No clue. You're now sanctioned. Congratulations. That means you got to do your due diligence to see where are the goods coming from and where are they going to. Any foreign bank facilitating these transactions as well. So any company that uses these loans, these whatever they do from these foreign banks, boom, out of the dollar system. You lost all your access to any US dollars. You're sanctioned as well. You're screwed. Is the risk of working with the Islamic Republic worth it? No, absolutely not. We have the
Can I
we
can I
also have
respond to this because this?
the document that we'll
Yeah.
show you guys later about the exact timelines. But for now, yeah.
So Pharaoh is saying yes, they had secondary sanctions. That's why Iran
No,
asked for secondary sanctions to be lifted. They had secondary sanctions before
not like
on
this.
oil and yes, on oil stuff with the Islamic regime. Okay, we're talking secondary sanctions in crypto, gold, aviation, technology, and shipping. Not like this. Not like this. We haven't had secondary sanctions like this with everything coming from inside Iran.
Let's keep going here.
These measures broaden secondary sanctions risk for anyone foolish enough to continue conducting business with this regime. And
See, he said it right. So anyone who wants to do business with this regime, boom, secondary sanctions slapped on you.
will accelerate the speed with which we pursue them. As I speak, Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control is also sanctioning over 60 entities, individuals, and vessels around the world that enable the Iranian regime to procure illicit nuclear and missile technology, conduct cyber operations, and generate oil revenue. This is a sustained campaign to collapse every last option for Iran. Let there be no ambiguity as to the position of the United States. An economic engagement of any kind with this murderous regime will expose those responsible to the full reach of American power. For decades, this regime has drawn strength from a calculus that regards Iranian retaliation as certain and American enforcement as negotiable. Under President Trump, that era is over.
He's talking about Obama. There's tweets, you can look at it himself. Obama posted back in 2014, we're imposing maximum economic pressure on the Islamic Republic. The criticism that I hear a lot of times, and what the ministers of the Islamic Republic are saying, is that, yeah, America always says that. We're going to put maximum pressure on us. They do it for a little bit, and then they go, and they stop. And then we're back to business as usual. I highly doubt that President Trump will do that as well. I don't think he's gonna be firm and then be loose, be like liquid. This is gonna be different in my opinion.
To the ordinary soldiers.
Oh, sorry. And by the way, the reason I think it's different is not because I have 100% full faith in Donald Trump, is because I trust Scott Bessent personally.
Supporting this regime, as more and more of your paychecks stop or are supposedly just delayed, ask whether your commanders are leading your country to triumph or to ruin. And recall that the Berlin Wall fell when ordinary soldiers decided not to shoot at their own people.
Oh, finally. Been saying that forever. Been saying that forever. But here's the problem. If you guys didn't hear that, he just compared the Islamic Republic to the fall of the Berlin Wall. He said, when the ordinary soldiers refused to shoot at their own citizens, that's when they fell. Here's a slight problem with it, okay? This has been our goal from the beginning. We say, if the Islamic Republic doesn't have the money to pay its own soldiers, boom, we're that much closer to regime change the next time we come out, because in January 8th and 9th, they didn't have enough IRGC forces. They brought in terrorist proxies to kill Iranian people. That also costs money. So they didn't have enough IRGC, and now the IRGC getting paid less. Here's one slight issue. There's a fair amount, probably even the majority of the Basij, who will still conduct suppressive operations without getting paid. Armin, why would they do that? Why would they still show up to work even though they're not getting paid? These orcs.
Well, some people think it's ideological, but I think it's more than that. It's because there's no other options, and they're hoping that they're going to get paid in the future, because there's no other way. And they
What would
have
happen to them?
even if they don't show up. I mean,
What
yeah,
would happen to them if they what would happen to them if they didn't show up?
yeah. I think I think it's illegal for them not to show up. But
And what would the
but
people,
on top
what would
of,
the Iranian people do with them?
if they don't show up to work,
I mean, if these Basij don't show up to work and the Iranian people win and we have a free Iran, are they going to be exempt? No. They have the blood of the people on their hands, right?
unless they defect now and join the Iranian people, unless they do that. But yeah, but
This
other than
is
that, no.
encouragement.
Yes, that's true. And also, you know, even if they don't get paid, there's still more job security in a government job than many other jobs, because there's a chance that they're going to get paid. And with other jobs, you know, the difference between there's a chance I'm getting paid or definitely not getting paid. So people would choose the chances of getting paid. But yes, but you're also right, Ali. A lot of these people will continue fighting because they think if the regime falls, the Iranian people are going to tear them apart.
Yeah, it's their own
So
heads.
they're not.
Yeah.
Yes, they have to keep fighting for their lives. That's why Princess of Pahlavi tries to. That's why Princess of Pahlavi tries to keep promoting blanket amnesty as a way to discourage these people for continuing to fight for their lives.
Correct.
Yeah.
Is over. To the ordinary soldiers supporting this regime, as more and more of your paychecks stop or are supposedly just delayed, ask whether your.
Oh, I love that. Supposedly just delayed. Guys, the IRGC haven't been paid for months, by the way. And when they do get paid, they get paid for a paycheck that they were supposed to get 3 months ago. The other 2 or 3 months that they were supposed to get paid, sorry guys, it's delayed. You'll get it in the future. But there's a blockade and the government makes their money from oil revenue. They're not selling oil. Where are they going to get that money from? No. Scotty B's telling them that money's never going to come to you. Supposedly delayed, you're never going to get it. As long as we have the blockade, you're never going to get it. In fact, it's going to get worse. Lay down your weapons.
Commanders are leading your country to triumph or to ruin. And recall that the Berlin Wall fell when ordinary soldiers decided not to shoot at their own people. And to those who enable Tehran, do not discount the cost of testing Washington's resolve. No nation should expect to enjoy the rewards of our system while helping those who seek to destroy it. It is now a time for world leaders to make a decision between prosperity and isolation, peace and terror, America and Iran. The campaign we begin today will gather force with every day that follows, and it will not end until this regime stands alone. With that, I welcome your questions.
Oh, yeah.
So this was great, but one disappointment, slight disappointment. My name is Armin Navabi. I'm an Iranian political analyst with decades of experience fighting the Islamic regime inside and outside of Iran. Make sure you follow me for more, and also make sure you join our discussion group. I'm there almost every single day. Come talk to me there and the rest of the people there in our group calls. It's a great place to meet and talk to people who like talking about politics. The link is in the description and or in the bio. You could also get there by scanning the QR code on the screen. See you there.